Hey, this is Mr. Ring going over the Math 5 Chapter 8 test taken on September 28th, 2018. This is for versions A and B. Question number 1, does the infinite geometric series diverge or converge? Explain. So you'll notice here that as the numbers go that they are being multiplied by 3, so you have a ratio of 3. And if you had to pick one of these, then your ratio this is what our trick here is, that the ratio is greater than 1, so it diverges into infinity, so therefore it does not have a sum, it does an infinite sum. So their choice would be C. B, multiple choice, how many of these sequences have a common difference of -4? So if you move on from here, going from left to right, you're realizing you're adding 4, it's getting bigger. Here on this choice, I think you'll recognize that the number is getting smaller, so you are subtracting by 4. That's why it's B, only one of these. Here the numbers are getting bigger, so that'll be a +4, and then this one is not even a 4. So only one of these, that would be B. Question number 2, total number of boxes. So if you count the boxes here, you'll notice that in this first picture, n equals 1. Second picture, third picture, that you count those up, you have 25, 16, and 9. The following pattern can be described as, well, if you keep moving along, this is a difference of 9 and a difference of 7, and then, so it's not arithmetic, you can't multiply, so it's neither. Write a numeric sequence to represent each given pattern. So you have all these blanks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blanks, and you only have 3 pictures, so you're going to have to continue the pattern. Well, I recognize that the center column here is 5, and if I square it, I get 25. Center column is 4, 4 squared is 16, 3 squared is 9. And if you continue the pictures, you're going to have 2 squared, and then 1 squared, which is 1, and then just 0. The pattern is finite. We can actually add up these values. So it says calculate the sum of the first 9 terms. Okay, so here I accepted 2 answers. Let me show to you guys why I picked 2 answers. So you can't use a formula if the answer is neither. So you could just use summation notation and just add these numbers, 25, 16, 9, 4, 1, and 0. And then you would have to continue this pattern. So that number would go down to negatives, -1 squared, -2 squared, -3 squared. So it would kind of just bounce back up. So you could say all of these numbers were the first 9 terms and add them all up, and you'll get 69. Another full credit answer is if you showed me just adding up all these values, but then you just stop because you're like, well, you can't have a negative row or column, so that would just be 0 and then 0 and 0, and if you add those up, you got 55. Those would be full credit. For question number 3, fill in the blank squares so that each row and each column contain all the digits, let's just say 1 through 3. Numbers in cages may repeat as long as they are not the same column. So here you're going to get 4 points if it's correct, or if you got it wrong, you get 1 point. You only have to fill out 1. The second one is for your quiz corrections. So I only need the numbers 1, 2, and 3, and then I'm looking for the first freebies if there's any, and then the problem, there is no freebies. Here I have to pick 2 numbers that multiply to be 2, and there's only 2 numbers, that's 1 and 2, and you can always change the places if you need to. 2 numbers here that multiply to be 6, that'll be 2 and 3. Again, you can always interchange that and put a 3 and a 2 here. But here you're recognizing these corner problems here. A common trick is you actually use the same numbers there. So 3 numbers, 1, 2, 3, that multiply to be 3. So that's 1 times 3 times 1. So if you do that corner there, then this has to be a 2. If that's a 2, then this must be a 3. If that's the case, then you can't put a 2 here. It would have to be 1, then a 2. And then 2 other numbers that you're missing would just be 2 and 3. And I believe that front side is out of 20. Let's look at some student work. All right, if we take a look at this one, this problem, this student has summation notation, and they're just adding up all those numbers. And I think they recognized that the pattern didn't continue, so they got 55. They boxed it. I could see that very quickly, and I gave them a 4. Wanted to show you this student work. This student wrote for question number 1, it diverges because it does go infinite, so it diverges because it is more than 1. So they recognize that the ratio is more than 1. So they got C is correct. I want to show you this work. Interesting enough, the student wrote arithmetic, and then you would expect them to actually calculate the sum using an arithmetic sum formula, but here they just have all the numbers listed out. So notice how that doesn't match. So you should be consistent. In this problem, you'll recognize that this student got correct answer by row SW for showing the work, and they got a 0. So you got to write something that I know that you didn't copy and you're not being lazy. You just show your work to get your full points. All right, so on the back side, I forgot to bring my answer key or scan it, so I'm going to use actually students' correct work to show you the solutions. So on the back side of versions A and B, number 4, circle 1, the sequence is here arithmetic because the student shows that they are adding 3. 2 points, circle 1, the common difference, because it's plus, and it is positive 3. Numbers are getting bigger. So based on these numbers, the sum of the sequence for the first 15 terms, make sure to show your work below. So it says the sum, not just the 15th term. So the 15th term here is the explicit formula for arithmetic. Here you have the A1 value plus the D, and then N minus 1. So I would have liked if the student wrote down the formula, but I still gave him full credit. So the first value in our list is -5, and your common difference is 3. Your N value comes from here when it says, usually they'll say nth term. This is the 15th, 15, and it's 15. So 15 minus 1, here we're just using order of operations inside parentheses. 15 minus 1 is 14. 3 times this value, so that would be 42, and then -5 plus 42 is 37. That means the 15th term in the list, way over here, is 37. Now, again, you could have listed all the numbers out just fine, but the common mistake is if you just got this number 37, I'm only going to give you 3 out of 4 because it's asking for the sum, means you add up all of these terms. Here is the arithmetic finite sum formula. Sn equals n times a1 plus an. An is the 15th term, or the last term, divided by 2. So n is 15. First one is -5 plus 37. Student shows that those are 32. 15 times 32 they did by hand, no calculator, and then divide that answer by 2. Full credit would have been 240. All right, for this student, I gave them 2 points because they have the correct answer, formula, but they didn't even put the D value because I think they thought, I don't know, they circled 19 over here and they thought common ratio is 19, but remember, and they identified over here wrong, -3. Like this one, super nice, has a formula, and you might asking, how did they get that 15th term to be 37? Well, you can just see they just wrote them all out, which is totally fine. Okay, I gave this student here a 3 point for this problem because they have the 2 correct formulas. It's just that their difference is incorrect. They put a -3. It should have been a +3. So again, if you need help with that, you're going from left to right, just use your calculator. How do you go from -5 to -2? It's -5 plus 3 gives you -2. Question number 5a says compute each geometric series. Okay, so the question is finite or infinite. It has the summation notation, a little bit blurry. Let me see if I can zoom in here. This basically says a summation, meaning adding. And you know it's geometric because it tells you, and then right here, 1/4 is your ratio. There it says I equals 1, and then there's the infinite. So this is an infinite geometric series, and that's to the I power, and the student wrote down the correct formula. S equals, the sum is equal to G1 over 1 minus R. Now, this summation notation is equal to our list here, 1/4 plus 1/16 plus 1 over 64. Let me show you how they got that. I equals 1, put a 1 here, 1/4 to the first power, that's just 1/4. The second number in our list, 2, so I equals 2, 1/4 squared means 1/4 times 1/4, so you multiply the denominators and you get 1 4 times 4 is 16, so 1 over 16th. And same thing if this was the third number in the list, 1/4 to the third power, that's 1/4 times 1/4 times 1/4, and that would give you 1 over 64. So here, the first number on the list is 1/4. 1 minus r. R is our ratio. The ratio is the base. Right here it has an exponent, so 1/4. Then the student wrote 1/4 over 4 over 4. So 1 is 4 over 4 minus 1 over 4 is 3 over 4. So you have 1/4 divided by 3/4. We talked about in class going from the vertical to the horizontal, 1/4 divided by 3/4. Change that to multiplication and then take the reciprocal. Here they cross canceled and you get 1/3 as your correct answer. Again, here you could have also multiplied across and get 4/12, and 4/12 reduces to 1/3, so the student got full credit. Student left it blank, so 0 through a slash to let us know you left it blank. This student was trying to use the finite geometric sum formula. And that's the reason why I gave it a 1, because incorrect formula. So if they just wrote down the formula generic with letters, I would have, if they identified the correct one, then I would have given them a 2 out of 4 instead of a 1 out of 4. Student just copied the problem here, so I just gave them a 0. That's not trying. Alright, in this problem the student got, this is incorrect, but what the student did get correct is they identified that the ratio is 1/4. So that is something correct. I gave them a 2 out of 4. Boxer answers. Number 6, Rhonda is considering 2 different physical therapist positions. Range of Motion offers an initial salary of $15,000 per year with annual increases of $5,000 per year. Mobility Inc. offers an initial salary of $42,000 with a guaranteed 5% increase in salary every year. Is this situation arithmetic or geometric? Explain reasoning. Out of 2 points, I gave the student a 1 because they did write that one is arithmetic and the other is geometric, but they didn't tell us the reason why. This student, I gave them a 2 out of 2 points because they recognized that the range of motion is an arithmetic with a common difference of 5,000. So they're adding $5,000 per year. Mobility is geometric with a common ratio of 1.05. So I like this one a lot because they're realizing that 5% turns into 1.05. Alright, so this one says, determine which company pays more salary over 30 years career. Over a 30-year career, show all your work period. And explain your reasoning. So what I was hoping to see here is not the 30th year, 30 years from now. This is kind of like, it doesn't tell you, but in real life, this is a total of 30 years. Student wrote range of motion. They gave me explicit arithmetic to find out the 30th year. So that would be 160,000. But then the sum of the 30 years is your end value, which is 30. Your first year and your last year divided by 2, 2,625,000 is correct. Over here, Mobility Inc., they found the 30th year. This is the explicit of geometric. G1, which is 42,000, times the ratio. This looks like your project. Your ratio, the common mistake here is to write just 5% or even 0.05. Remember, if you multiply by a number greater than 1, it's actually increasing. And so this person's salary is increasing. So this would be 1.05 to the 30th minus 1 power, and that would be 29. So 1.05 to the 29th power times 42,000 would give you this is their salary for Rhonda at Mobility Inc. on the 30th year. And if you took that number, there it says GN times R, which is 1.05, minus your first initial year, 42,000, divided by R minus 1, 1.05 minus 1. Put that in your calculator, and you'll get 2,790,431,059 cents. Mobility Inc. pays more because they're telling us that $2.8 million is greater than $2.6 million. So if you just got a correct formula in there or something, I give you 2 points. This student got full credit for 2 points. I would have liked to seen the formula written down for that student, but they did a good job showing all the work. The second part there got 2 points for all of it, and kind of painful, they got all the math correct, and I gave them a 1 because it says determine. Not that I look at the numbers and determine. You have told me. Explain your reasoning. Which one is better and why? Alright, out of part B here, they got only one part correct, which is, or this side correct, so I gave them a 1. These were 2 were incorrect. Their mistake here is, a common mistake is, number one, the ratio is wrong. But here, when it says the n minus 1, it's to the exponent. It's a really small number, so it's not 30 minus 1 is 29. It's not 29 times this. It's the ratio to the 29th power. So that would be an exponent. 29 would be very small numbers up there. For the second test in a row, it says, what are you doing this weekend? You could have been doing whatever, but as long as you have all three words, fun, safe, and legal, you got 2 points. If you got 1 or 2 words, then we gave you 1 point. That side was 16, and then the front side must have been out of 20 for a total of 36 points. Good luck.
Love math. You don't love math? What's wrong with you?